30 years ago, police could enter information about stolen cars, stolen guns, and even stolen horses into the FBI's crime database, but not stolen children. Several tragic cases began to awaken the nation to the problem that there was no coordinated national system for addressing missing children's cases. In the year 1980, several high-profile cases of missing children were advertised on milk cartons for the first time. This event changed the way Americans thought about the rights of missing children and society's responsibility to help them. This event set into motion the missing children's movement and caused new generations of American parents to keep a tighter rein on their kids. These high publicized abductions began to symbolize growing fears about stranger danger and helping spark the missing children's movement that began putting photos on milk cartons and has professed to saving hundreds of children's lives.
I think the milk cartons had a huge impact on the community. When it originally happened, it allowed a greater audience to see that a child had went missing. Historically known, it was just a small poster or a small handmade flyer on poles. Actually having milk distributed across the state and or counties or the country was an initiative that really heightened the awareness of what was happening with the abduction of missing children, abduction of children.
Children's Safety Council is perhaps best known for its efforts to address the nationwide tragedy of missing and abducted children. It was discovered in most incidents of abduction, the children were being taken out of state and oftentimes across the country. In December of 1984, the National Children's Safety Council initiated the first national coordinated missing children milk carton program, which within weeks was implied by over 700 independent dairies across the nation through the Corporation of Milk Carton Manufacturers. With a few pamphlets. In the 1970s, many police departments were hesitant to intervene when non-custodial parents made off with their children. They viewed the incidents as domestic disagreements rather than as true kidnappings. Frustrated custodial parents launched a movement to combat the problem, giving the crime a name, child snatching. Advocacy groups distributed pamphlets containing photos of snatched children to principals and school teachers because the non-custodial parent often enrolled the child in a new school under a different name.
To me, accountability. I was presented to quite a few people that were in charge of identity. The Department of Social Services, the Board of Education. If any of those individuals who really stood behind their current responsibilities of requiring the information necessary to actually enroll a child to school or to provide a social security number. Basically, to me, they could have aided and abetted a criminal because they didn't do their jobs.
These shocking statistics, paired with a few notorious crime, mobilized businesses, public officials, and parents picked up on the anti-child snatching pamphlets of the 1970s. A few dairies began to place pictures of missing children on milk cartons in 1984. It's not clear, however, which company came up with the idea. Many point to Anderson Erickson Dairy, which printed the face of a missing Iowa child, Johnny Gosch, on its milk cartons.
We're 82 years old, and we are a family-owned company. We're on the third generation right now. Of course, we were the first one to put the side panels on for the missing children. The community was pretty stunned over those events. Before that time, we hadn't had that kind of problem. Of course, Johnny Gosch was the first newspaper boy that was abducted here in Des Moines, and a couple years later, in 1984, why it was Eugene Martin, and he was a distant relative of one of our route salesmen here at A.E. Dairy. We had some interaction with Noreen Gosch. She definitely took a leadership position in that, and I think that helped the whole community to kind of take a leadership position to move ahead in spite of the tragedy that happened. We were in it for quite a few years, but of course we were disappointed that nothing ever turned up, but the community did kind of work together on those kind of things, and I think it brought us a little closer together.
Though a few informants told police they recognized a child from a gallon of milk, there is no data of how many children were saved by the milk cartons. Others claim Wisconsin's Hawthorne Melody Farm Dairy was the first, agreeing to display a rotating group of missing Chicago children. Some sources have claimed that Pat's was the first milk carton child. Milk cartons eventually stopped featuring missing children in the late 1980s after prominent pediatricians like Benjamin Spoke and T. Barry Braceland worried that they frightened children unnecessarily, even as they wanted. However, portraits on cartons remain as a potent symbol.
Definitely the communications throughout the community. The outreach is huge. Pulling all types of resources together, law enforcement, the communities, similar advocates that actually share that platform, is a speedy recovery.
As the national movement grew, Congress enacted the Missing Children Act in 1982, which enabled the entry of missing children information into the FBI's National Crime Information Database, known as the NCIC. Former President Ronald Reagan officially opened the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children in 1984. Because of milk cartons being the start that changed the responsibilities of people in the society. Today, with better public awareness, training, laws, and technology, the recovery rate of missing children has jumped from 62% in 1990 to more than 97% today. Today, we even have Amber Alert. The Amber Alert program is a voluntary partnership between law enforcement agencies, broadcasters, transportation agencies, and the wireless industry to activate an urgent bulletin in most of the serious child abduction cases. Amber Alerts are broadcast through radio, television, road signs, and all available technologies, referring to the Amber Alert Secondary Distribution Program. This helped change the responsibility of the society because these broadcasts let the law enforcement use the eyes and ears of the public to help quickly locate an abducted child. It also helped with the rights of missing children because the U.S. Department of Justice coordinates the Amber Alert program on a national basis. Every May 25th, which is the anniversary of Etan Pat's disappearance, the nation observes National Missing Children's Day. National Missing Children's Day honors this commitment to help locate and recover missing children like Etan by reminding parents, guardians, family, and communities that every child deserves a safe childhood.